In this video, we are going to create a services section in Brizy Free with our Blocksy theme in the background, as well as add a button from which you can download a PDF. We are done with this section. Good job. Give yourself 5 stars. But let's see if we can do the same for the next block. Bring in a new block. Click here on Add a New Block, and we select an empty one, Create New. By default, a block comes in with a white background, and I want to use white. That's why that divider from the previous block nicely transitions into this one. We build it out one by one. So I'll bring in my section heading first. I'll click here on the plus. Any heading, anything with text is a text element, click and drag. Select the text, and I type in my services. Align it to the middle. Put it on uppercase. Go to T for typography. Select Montserrat. We put it on 30. And I'll put this on medium. And I'll leave the line height to 1.9. That extra spacing in this case is actually welcome. Then I'll change the color and I'll put that on black. Below this, I'll add some additional space. So I'll go to Add Elements and I'll grab my spacer. And we know by default now it comes in at 50 pixels, and I'm happy with that. Below this, we're going to create 3 columns. There are a number of ways that you can create structure with columns and rows. I'll show you how to do that with the row element that actually includes columns, so that you can get used to this one as well, because it's often an overlooked element within Brizy. Add elements, and then scroll down where you see the grid, and we have 2 elements here, row and column. Click and hold the row, and you will see we have those gray lines again where you can drop it, and we'll drop it here under My Services at the bottom gray line. Let's have a look what's happening here. Hover over it and note that you actually have a bounding box. Go to the top left-hand corner and you hover over this little arrow that's pointing upwards, and you will see the bounding box. That is the row. So to access the settings for the row, you click here and you will see we have the options toolbar. Hover inside and you will see these 2 blue bounding boxes next to each other. Those are columns. And to access their options, you go to the little up arrow and you will have the options toolbar appear like this. First thing we'll do is add another column, and you simply click here on the plus. That will give us another column, and it says add new column, and we have our 3 columns. Now we can bring content in. The golden rule is if you're going to bring in content that you're going to style and make the same in all 3 columns, you build out 1 column completely, perfectly, and then just duplicate them for column 2 and 3 instead of building it out 3 times and making sure that everything is perfect. To bring in an element, you see the plus. And for this, we use a very nifty little element called the icon box. Click, hold, and drag the icon box and drop it on the plus. And we have a little element that comes in with 3 features. Click on the icon, you get an icon. Click on the text, you get text. And then, of course, the button. The button we're not going to use. So with the button selected, click here on the delete option to get rid of the button. Let's change the icon first. Select the icon, and from the options toolbar, select icon all the way to the left and then icon. We can change the icon over here. There are hundreds of icons to choose from here, maybe 1,000 or so. And I believe in the Pro version, you get more options. Let's search for something like a pen to show our blogging. And over here, I'll choose this fountain pen. And I'll make it a little bit smaller, choose the size there of 32. Good with that one. Let's change the text. Highlight all the text and I'll type in blogging. And now I will press Enter Return on my keyboard. And this will break us into a new text element line. I'll show you soon what I mean by that. Here I want to just bring in some placeholder text, and for that we use lorem ipsum. I'll open a new tab and go to loremipsum.io, which is a random text generator, and I'll click on generate. I'll just grab a short little sentence anywhere here. That's going to give us, let's say I'll grab this one, copy that. But be careful. If you go and you paste it here, you're going to mess it up because Brizy will take the settings of this one, copy it and paste it here, and then it's very difficult to change it. Let me show you in this column. I don't want to mess this one up, so I'll click here, plus in the second column, and I'll bring in a text element. I'll drop it there, select everything and paste, Control-Command-V. And you will see it brings in that gray from this background as well as other changes, and you cannot undo this. Let's delete this one. First you have to clear the formatting, and there's a nice shortcut key that Jean-Pierre had showed me how to do. It's not me, it's another Jean-Pierre. Okay, let's make sure we copy it, and in the address bar at the top, select it by clicking on it and then paste it, Control-Command-V, and then you select everything, Control-Command-A, and then you copy it again, Control-Command-C. Now this seems like a lot of work, and yes it is, but remember, if you're building out your own website like we are doing here, you probably will have text that you're going to add here, so you don't have to go through those options. I say that, but unfortunately, even if you had prepared everything in Word, it may run into areas where it cuts the line. So remember a trick, you have to do that, either paste it in Notepad or paste it in the address bar to clear the formatting. We had blogging, and then we created a second line, so click in the second line and paste it, Control-Command-V. And there's a little space at the front, so I'll just one area back. It looks like one text element, but no, it's not. It's two because of that enter we had made after blogging. Now I will style each one out separately. So first click on blogging, go for T for typography. I'll put it on Montserrat. Then the size, 24. I'll put it on medium. And for my line height, I will reduce it to 1. And what you notice is it only changes the line height here of this blogging, the size and the medium. It does not affect the text below it. Now click on the text below it. We go to T for typography, also put that on Montserrat. And we leave our size on 16, weight on normal, and we're going to leave this paragraph as it is. But we feel that this heading and this text is a little too on top of each other. It doesn't leave enough space, and we want to add a little bit space between the two. To do that properly, select blogging, and then from the options toolbar, go all the way to settings. And we have this option gap above and gap below. And we'll add 16 pixels to the gap below, and you will see it adds that little space there. The reason I choose 16, it's always a good idea to use the font size that you work with in the paragraph to create that break. So if your font size for the paragraph is 16, then the gap below or gap above is also 16. I will do a little bit more structure here, and that is to add a little bit of white space here so that we have more structure. I'll click here where you see the bounding box. For the icon box, I'll select the options, click on the options, and then we have the sidebar on the right. I want to add padding, but only to the right. So first I have to unlink all of the sides. I select this option here. Now we have top, right, bottom, and left. And I want to bring in padding on the right. You have the option for pixels and percentage. And I really like percentage a lot. So I'll go for percentage and I'll put in 15%. And now I'll add that white space. 4 lines, I think it's a little too much. I'll just delete some words here. And then we have these 3 lines. Splendid. And your intuition will tell you now to do the same for this one and this one. That was the old way, 5+ years ago. What you have to ensure first is that this little block that you have designed here will look good on tablet and mobile. Make those changes and only then you will copy it. But let's see what happens if we copy it at this level and how much work it will actually create for us. And is there a shortcut? Let's see. Go to the column, click on the column settings, and then you will find the duplicate here. Select it once, select it twice. Now we have 5, we have to delete these 2. The easiest way to delete anything on this page is to hover with the cursor over it and right click and select delete. And now we can change out these 2 as well. I'll select it and go for the icon. Let's say something like a graph. Chart. Let's say chart. Can't remember always what I was looking for. Change the heading, and we call this SEO awareness, and I'll leave the lorem ipsum text. Let's also change this one. Cool. Glasses, spectacles, my dear, and blogging, proofreading. Perfect. How quickly have we done that? Let's go and see how this will behave then in tablet and mobile. Let's select the tablet on the left. And we have now this issue here that the line breaks into the second one. And let's go to mobile. And for mobile, interesting thing happens. It is stacked. So when they appear like this on top of each other, apart from side by side, we say they are stacked. On mobile, actually not a big issue. We go one up, Control plus, Command plus, a few changes we have to make here. To keep it uniform, I will select then the text here and I'll drop it down to 20. Actually, we should do it on this one first. So we make sure it can fit in 20, it fits in. And now we go to this one also and put it on 20. If we had styled it out at the beginning, we only had to do it once, but now we have to change it individually for each and every one. And we are good. I like our title there at the top. This bar is okay. Let's go again to mobile. And if I look here at our mobile, looks good. We'll come back to mobile. Go back to the desktop, Control plus, or Control minus in the other direction. And where are we now? Here's the thing. I actually want 6 of these. And there are many ways. You can create more columns. You can paste the columns. But the reason I put this in a row is that now all I have to do is go to the row settings and select duplicate. And I've got 6. Let's change these guys as well. And this one is called content creation. So I'll put the word and I'll select that content creation. Ooh. I can type very well, except when I do tutorials. Horrendous. This one, we can say paper, this one. And select that, call it reviews. And the last one we change out, look for a keyboard. And copy writing. And our services section is almost done. We're still going to bring in a PDF download button. Let's do that, and then we can look at the responsiveness at the very end. What we have so far then is a text element, spacer, a row with 3 columns, another row with 3 columns, and then below this, I'll bring in a spacer, grab another spacer, drop it on that thick gray line, not this small one, otherwise it goes inside the column. I'll select it and I'll make it 25 pixels. And below this, I'm going to bring in a button. Don't create more work. That's very important. Where you can get shortcuts, you do shortcuts. We created a perfectly nice button up here that we can use across our site many times. Why not use the same button? So before we bring in the link, it's a good idea just to go and make all your buttons. I'll click on the button and I'll select duplicate. And Brizy has actually awesome feature, dropping it right next to the other button so you can create multi-buttons like this. But I want to take this button and I want to put it down here. To do that, click and hold on the button and drag, and you will see it becomes a blue dot. Drag down, and everywhere you can drop it, you will see a thick gray line or a thick blue line. But I want it at the bottom, but it doesn't move to the bottom. To make your page go down, use the down arrow key on your keyboard and just press until you get to the view where you want it, which is this thick gray line, and I'll drop it, and there's my button. I don't have to style anything out here. It's already perfect, except I have to change the text. So I'll type in here, work sample, and remember you have to type in full caps. The other nice thing about this button is because we did all the responsive styling for the tablet and the mobile already here, we probably don't have to do it again. What this button is going to do is connect it to a PDF file in our WordPress media library so that when people click on it, it will download it. In the Pro version, if you click here and you select link, there's going to be an option for the file, so you can just upload it straight there. But we don't have that in the free version. But it's not the end of the world, Sally, so don't worry. I'm going to show you how you can do it. What I'll do is save the work first, Control-Command-S, then open a preview so we can have a look at what's going on. Nice. And actually, this color background isn't white, so I'll have to go and change it to white. And here, with this preview, I'll just click here on the WordPress area to take us into the back administration area, and then go to Media, Library, because I have to bring my PDF file in here. Let me get my Explorer and my PDF file. Where's my PDF file? I put it, a PDF downloads. I have a few of them as examples. I'll use this one, the download file, click and drag, and I drop it into the media library. Now I have to grab this link. Select the PDF file. With this open, go to File URL and select Copy URL to Clipboard. Go back into Brizy, click on Work Sample and select Link. Within Link to, paste that URL and also select Open in New tab. Let's update and open a new tab. Just select Preview. Don't worry about this one that's already open. You can have many tabs open. And then from here, we scroll and we select Work Sample. It's going to open a new tab for us and it downloads the PDF. And here you can download the PDF to your hard drive. Gorgeous. We've set that up. Let's close all of this and make a few changes. First, I want to make sure that the background of this block, so I go to the settings, colors is set to white. And then on the button, I'll add a little bit more information here. At the end of this button, I will say something like 1 megabyte to show the size of this file. And I'll add an icon. So click on the icon, go to icon, and I will click select and type in download and use this little icon. And there we have a nice little button for the download. Finally, we can look at tablet. Control minus. And because we've set up everything here, it still breaks into 2 lines there. It's not bothering me too much. I think I can live with that. The button is nice because we already styled it up there. And then Control minus, we get here. And the one thing I like to do on mobile displays is to add a little bit of a border, a white border on the left and the right. And there's a very easy way you can do it. Go to the block options, select that, go to settings, and you will see you have the control over the width of the block container. I'll select that and type in 96. And by doing that, you see, I just add a little bit of spacing there. And talk about spacing, I think we can even group this a little bit more and make it even more impactful. Let's go back to the desktop. And from our row settings, go to the row settings. You see we have width here. I'm going to reduce that also a little bit. Just make it a little bit more contained. I'll also make this just 90%. Now we add some space here and here. Let's go to the second row, settings, width and 90%. Oh, looks much better, much better. Let's just go check on tablet. Still looks good for us on tablet. And let's jump down one more. It looks good here too. Before we are done here, what I will do just to give myself peace of mind is to go to Brizy. And first, before we go to Brizy, update. Hop over to Brizy and refresh. Because there is a little snag in Brizy when it comes to the divider. And I already see it there in the phone and it's probably going to appear there again. And we have to wangle that a little bit to fix it. But first, let's look at the My Services section. Oh, beautiful. If I go here down to the HD display at the bottom, I scroll up, it looks good. Do you see what I see? Do you see a thin little line running there? And if I go up to the mobile device, you'll see it there as well. And here on the tablet, it's very pronounced. No idea why that happens. Everything else looks good. Our titles look good. Our content looks good. Our responsiveness is just unbelievably good. But that line just breaks all of our hard work. And we can fix it by moving the entire block a little bit up so that it can hide that white line. Let's go back into the builder. And what I will do here is click on the block, go to settings, styling, and to move the entire block, we do that with a margin. I'll delink all of this, so I only work with the margin at the top. And if I drag it to the right, you will see I actually move it down, which means I want to drag it to the left. If I do that, I move it over the block at the top. So that's too extreme. Put it on 0, and with the cursor in the field, use the arrow key on your keyboard and press down just 2 times. Okay, and barely you're going to notice it move up. We do the same for tablet. Let's go to tablet, select it, go to margins, top margin, just 2 pixels down. We're splitting pixels here. Mobile, Sun Collider is online anyway. Go to my services and select the margin at the top, 1 or 2 pixels down. No one's going to notice that little corner being cut off. Well, I do. So let's just make it -1. I think -1 will be okay. Update. Let's go to Sissy. You see, this is the benefit of always testing it externally, making sure you don't screw up. Reload all devices and keep our fingers crossed that line is gone. And indeed, everyone rejoiced, the line is gone. I will often preach and say, don't worry about each and every pixel, but a pixel can ruin a good website. And if you run into this, you may feel like, ugh, where is it coming from? But I just showed you a nice little workaround. Not ideal. It would have been great if that line wasn't there, but it is there, but we fixed it. We've built out a very nice My Services section within Brizy and Blocksy. 6 little services with a download area for your PDF. If somebody wants a brochure from your company, you upload it into your media library, download it, as simple as that. In the next chapter, we're going to create an About Me section. Say a little bit more about yourself and your background.